An alternate life for 30 years. This was posted by user Roaming Arnd to the Indian End subreddit about 2 years ago. So I came across Steve Cantwell's experience with salvia. He was talking about it on a podcast where he lived for 8 years while he was in the midst of a salvia trip that only lasted about 45 seconds. He lived this alternate life in Texas while he himself was currently in Alaska. In my hunt for such an experience, I came across a gentleman on Reddit who shared his salvia trip at 19, where he lived an alternate life for 30 years instead. He was kind enough to share the trip report, which I have shared below. This isn't one that I've made an actual trip report on, but I have mentioned it in some comments already. People asking about parallel lives. This is an older experience now that I've had many years ago. It was always a pretty personal thing to me, but it's definitely a parallel life experience. I was 19 when it happened. I had gotten into this habit of tripping with mirrors at the time, so I was in my bathroom, standing in front of the sink. I had some really bad experiences prior, and honestly, my plan was to try and bolt if shit got too strange. I remember with this one in particular, it seemed like nothing was happening. Everything was normal. I leaned in closer to the mirror and the pupil of one of my eyes started growing and didn't stop. It happened fast. There was no escaping it. It pulled me like a black hole. I remember being stretched into a line and then smashed into a dot and then blinked out into darkness. That's all I really have going into it. That blink into darkness faded back out as an opening of my eyes, but I was a different person, living a different life, on a whole different world. It was very intense on that end because I still had strong memories of this life that you and I are in now. It took me about a year of their time to reorient myself to that reality. I couldn't even talk right for a little while because I was trying to talk like we do. Everybody thought I had brain damage. In that year, I went to sleep every night expecting to wake back up here in my bathroom. I could not accept that it was real and just wasn't going away. I could count time down to the second. The memories of this life eventually began to fade though. I didn't have all the little details anymore to try and make sense of it to others. Within that life, I also had some pretty big responsibilities that I had to focus on. I had a family and a house. The whole overdose thing cost me a job, but we were able to turn things around once I put my past behind me. You have to understand that this was all backwards for me. While I was there, my experience was that I had done a drug and experienced years of another life, ours, and within that life, I did a drug that took me back. Basically, exactly what I'm doing right now. In trying to explain this is what I was doing over there too. When you are in one of these parallels like this, no matter which direction you are heading, they become your base reality for the experience. I was questioning our world, not theirs. Theirs was my actual reality for the time being. So about 30 years later, I was an old man. My kids were grown up and had moved out. One of them had asked me to look for something for them up in the attic. When I went up there, I found a box that was very out of place. In it were things from this life we are in now. It was the biggest mindfuck I had ever experienced in my life. In that box was a pipe and the same drug I had overdosed on. Same exact bowl, actually. It was a little burned, but still had a few tokes left. I was just so confused and felt like I was finally close to an answer. So I hit one more time and closed my eyes. When I opened them again, I was standing in my bathroom, 19, looking at the mirror. I still had to reorient, but this was salvia, so there was no waking up from an overdose. It was like 30 years of whatever the hell that was just crammed into my head all of a sudden. I think it was about 4 minutes that had passed in total. Around 3 a.m., I remember just sitting on the bathroom floor, feeling like my head was going to explode, but not in the pounding headache kind of way. I sat there for 4 hours. At one point, I just started crying because I couldn't grasp what had happened. I was still very aware of my wife and kids and wondering if I'd ever see them again. My sister didn't even knock, just slowly opened up the door and asked what was up. She was actually very crucial in helping me reorient to this reality. I tried to explain it to her. My language was a little off again, but not as bad, and she pretty much kept my family at bay while I sorted everything out. It didn't take me long to put on the mask, but mentally, it did take me another year to let it go. And that's another problem, is the whole mask idea. I don't know how to fully feel like the person that I am, but I'm trying every day. I've seen many other parallels, even on things other than salvia. With salvia, I've left the other parallels altogether and experienced core self. This was significant as my longest lived and most detailed parallel experience. You know, this is really why you don't blast a whole bowl of high-level salvia extract by yourself to see something cool. That's not what this is. It is extremely powerful and will loosen anyone's grip on reality. Best to go in there as a no one. This must be respected as something more than a drug. You have to let go of this illusion if you wish to do salvia properly. Any and all attachments must be left at the door before you cross over. This is how you bypass the parallels and reach the core self. This is how we can remember who we are. Hello, everyone, and thanks for watching tonight's video. Do you have a story that you'd like narrated on the channel? Send me an email or leave a comment below. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and thank you all for supporting the channel. Good night.